saw it stopped on LinkedIn, or you saw it keep going. It stopped at like the 15-minute marker. Are the mics going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it stopped at the 15-minute marker. All right. All right, we're rock and rolling. All right, guys, we're going to start the show soon. Live on I Love CVille Food, Judah. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines, and we'll get the program started in a matter of moments. Conversational show with yours truly and Judah Wickhauer. Live on my personal Facebook, J-Dubs. Man, did you see the Wingstop go viral?
Did it?
Our Wingstop news? Yeah, goodness gracious. We are not live on I Love CVille Facebook yet. Take a look at that when you can, and we'll get the program up and running shortly. We are live on my personal Facebook, J-Dubs. Good work there. We work hard for you. The only thing we ask in return is you like and share the show. Share it to your Facebook page. Offer some comments. Vanessa Parkhill, thank you. Appreciate you, Vanessa Parkhill. Live on the group, J-Dubs. Live on I Love CVille Food, J-Dubs. I'll confirm I Love CVille Facebook. Not live yet on I Love CVille Facebook.
Working on it.
Cool. Thank you. We'll play 3 highlight clips from the interview live on LinkedIn, J-Dubs. 3 highlight clips from our interview with Walter Smith from a couple of days ago. Content that we found very compelling. If you want to watch that interview in totality, it's wherever you get your podcasting and social media content, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to also talk the impact of multifamily construction on the show. A lot of multifamily units that are coming online. And a lot of folks are saying that the multifamily construction is good for stabilizing rents and price points tied to housing in our community. I push back on that. I don't think so. But we'll have that discussion on the show today. I'm curious of Judah's take on it as well. We are looking good on our end. How are we looking on your end there, J-Dubs?
Pretty good.
Got it. I Love CVille Facebook up and running?
Yeah.
Excellent work. Which headline most intrigues you and why?
I mean, some of the highlight clips we've got of Walter are pretty interesting. He's got some great takes on what's been going on, and it was definitely a pleasure to have him on the show and shed some light on things.
Which clip most intrigues you and why? That we're going to play.
I don't know which one I like best. I mean,
I don't know.
it's interesting that he goes through some details on what it means when someone's trying to dismiss a lawsuit. He talks about how impossible it is for a normal person to sue UVA, and he talks about how insane it is that UVA is claiming that they can redact every student's name from a report just because they're students, and he makes a joke about if that were the case, then you wouldn't be able to write a story about UVA football because you wouldn't be able to name anyone.
We wouldn't be able to talk about the players by name. That's right. All right, we can rock and roll on the show. William McChesney, good afternoon. Thank you for watching the program. If you like the show, do us the favor of hammering that like button and sharing the show so we can help spread the gospel. Ready to rock and roll when you're ready? What is the challenge here?
Give me just a second.
If we need to, we can start on this one as you fix it, just for the sake of time. And then just adjust it. Make sure you do it in the first, 90 seconds, though. Is that what we're going to go with here?
Yeah.
All right.
Quiet on the set.
Good Friday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Biller, and thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille show. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille network on our flagship show, the water cooler of content and conversation in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, and beyond. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast today, including the showcase of 3 highlight clips, ladies and gentlemen, from an interview we did in the middle of the week with Walter Smith. He's the lead FOIA trailblazer for the Jefferson Council, a retired attorney who's got the tenacity, the sophistication, the experience to understand and manage FOIA, to basically pursue transparency with the University of Virginia. We'll talk about, we'll show these 3 highlight clips. What were those folks looking for, J-Dubs?
They need to be led into Mike Silverman's office if you want. They said they'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait till after the show, yeah. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, including discussing multifamily and the impact that all this multifamily construction is having on the Charlottesville area. And it's a lot more than just traffic. There's pros and cons to it. Livable CVille is really pumping its agenda. I'll use the nice word agenda. Some would say propaganda on community Facebook and social media pages locally. But I want to, understand. That's all I'm trying to do is figure out what's going on around here on what this multifamily. It's not just student housing. Like so many folks that are touting the multifamily apartments, the apartment towers that are coming on market are saying this is just student housing. It's good for the area. It's not just student housing that's happening. That big project on the bypass by St. Anne's Belfield, that big project that you can see while going up and down the bypass where it's just a boatload of red Virginia clay, is not geared towards students. So I want to talk about that on today's show. We're going to talk City Hall considering West Main Street, Ridge Street, and a McIntyre area redesign on the program today. We're going to talk basketball with the University of Virginia traveling to Dallas tomorrow. Actually, the plane, they're in air now. So they're traveling there as we speak on a plane. The University of Virginia is the 16th ranked team in the country, and they are a 1.5-point favorite against SMU. SMU is hosting this contest, 12 o'clock tip-off, ESPN2. I want to encourage all the viewers and listeners that watch this program, your friends, your family, you guys, if you need office space in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, or Central Virginia, reach out to us. We have more at our disposal than anyone, and we'll happily be a matchmaker with commercial space, office space, commercial space of any kind, locally in Albemarle County, in Charlottesville City, and across Central Virginia. It's one of the things we are very humbly, very, very good at. Judah Wickhauer is behind the camera. I'm excited for the final show of the week, where we're going to showcase some highlight clips of what's going on from this Walter Smith interview. If you can, Judah, at your convenience, go to the studio camera, then we'll welcome you on a 2-shot. We've had even more time to digest the Walter Smith interview from the middle of the week. I'm curious of your thoughts of how the interview went. Besides the technical difficulties, we're beyond that. I think we managed that somewhat well. Now that you've digested everything that's going on, your thoughts on Esquire Walter Smith, who joined us on the program, and some of the compelling content that he had to relay to viewers and listeners on the I Love CVille show.
What I appreciate about Walter's insights is that as a lawyer, he's put in the time, the work to get a lot of this this information for us, for the public in general, and he has the background and the knowledge to explain to us what some of the difficulties are that he's dealt with, both in trying to get FOIA, reports released, dealing with UVA, and just some of the things that he sees as a problem in the current system.
He was frank, he was honest, he was to the point. The interview in totality you could find anywhere you get your podcasting, your social media content. We played 3 clips yesterday. Here are 3 additional highlight clips that we found compelling. Set the stage for the first one. Judah Wickower, it's Jim Ryan specific.
Yeah, the first one is about what did Jim Ryan know about the reports on Craig Kent and the problems that people were having with him in the UVA health system, when he knew, what he knew, and it's pretty enlightening, I think.
Let's cue this up. Sit back, grab your popcorn. This is conversation and content for your charcuterie and cocktail party this weekend. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. You have that clip ready to go?
Give me just a second.
Walter Smith, the lead FOIA trailblazer for the Jefferson Council, on what Jim Ryan did and did not know when it came to the UVA hospital saga, soap opera, and scandal, allegedly. Judah Wickower, cue those up.
And it's on.
I'll throw this to you. The link to Jim Ryan and what Jim Ryan knew about this. What have your exhaustive efforts discovered?
Well, this thing festered forever. Jim Ryan's start date was in 2018, and by 2020, Kent had not been there long. People are raising their hands saying something's up here, and I don't think he wanted to act because of his great and good initiative, which, that's all wonderful, aspirational. But the implication to me was, well, UVA may have been great, but it wasn't good until I got here. And that's a little insulting. And they didn't want to take their foot off the accelerator on DEI and doing all sorts of things. So, he knew about this all along. And
That's one of 3 highlight clips we'll play today. One of 3. The man that was talking in that interview is a triple who. His children also went to the University of Virginia, as did his extended family. So you have someone that's offering commentary and insight that's frank. Mm-hmm. He's an attorney. He has an MBA that is grounded and rooted in a love for the University of Virginia folks, but certainly commentary that's holding the university accountable. And after this interview and after these FOIA documents came out last week because of the council, it's undisputable that the former president of the University of Virginia, Jim Ryan, knew what was going on.
No doubt.
At the university health system. Undisputable.
And I believe the Jefferson Council also has a new video up on their social media that is I believe it's a UVA staff meeting, UVA health staff meeting, that goes and details in far more detail the timeline of events at UVA Health. It's about 40 minutes, so it's a decent watch, but I'm sure it's going to be extremely interesting.
And we'll digest that following the show today. Highlight 2 set the stage, Judah Wickower, of what's going on with clip 2.
In clip 2, Walter Smith goes into what is involved in dismissal. UVA trying to, Kent and
Craig Kent, Melinda Kibbe, and Wendy Horton.
Mm-hmm. As they try to dismiss the lawsuit, he gives a lawyer's explanation of what that all means, how trying to get a get a suit dismissed is fairly standard at the beginning of a trial, and where things go from there.
Cue it up in 3, 2, and 1. Honor code. The Kent, Melinda Kibbe, and Wendy Horton. This past Friday, there was some significant news that continues to fly under the radar. This was Friday, I believe, January 9th, where their legal team is asking for a dismissal. I'm counting on you here to educate us on what's happening on their side of the fence.
All right, so this is, again, why it's pretty much impossible for a normal person to sue UVA. I don't know if you're aware that the health system has a religious discrimination case that's gone on for years over the COVID exemptions.
Yes, yes.
So in a big case like this, the first thing you do is you try to get motion to dismiss. So I actually read the thing last night, and it was very technical on the RICO stuff. The lawyer who drafted it is an undergrad from UVA, and he's a very good lawyer. Boy, he knows RICO and all these things. And so, you attack the elements of what you're alleging to get it kicked out. And I would say, based on the reply, that, yeah, RICO is going to be a stretch. However, the stuff on medical malpractice and wrongful term, yeah, guys, this is going forward. The question's going to be, is it going to go forward in federal court or is it going to go forward in a state court? And even then you have to get past immunity, sovereign immunity. And on top of that, the people who are the alleged wrongdoers, they're going to be indemnified by UVA, i.e. the taxpayers. So the religious lawsuit, it was about a year ago that they finished arguments on, so they had the motions to dismiss, they had all this. Now they're class certification, and it's been about a year and the lawyer hasn't judged. The judge hasn't made a decision on class. And it should be a class, but if it's not a class, then that makes it more difficult for the plaintiff. So what we're seeing right now, only months old, it's going to go on for years.
I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the candidness. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the side of the story that hasn't been told so far. This is a man who's parsed through hundreds, if not thousands. He would say thousands of pages of documentation that he's obtained through FOIA requests. Mm-hmm. This Walter Smith gentleman has read documentation that's in-house correspondence within the University of Virginia, from leader to leader, text messages, emails, the paper trails that no one else has read. In the middle of this week, he talked about that documentation and those correspondence unseen by the public. He's the first to uncover them on the I Love CVille show. We got one more highlight clip to play. Judah, set the stage for us.
The third clip, what we're seeing is Walter Smith's take on some of the school's actions surrounding the triple murder perpetrated by Christopher Jones, and how absurd it is that UVA released a document that was so heavily redacted.
This is just a clip. He spent, I'd say 8 to 10 minutes on this in the full interview. He calls into question a link with the University of Virginia and the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office in Albemarle County in this interview. So that's in full. This clip is something we found compelling from the interview this week. Do you have that ready to go?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. In here.
Well, assuming the UVA attorney gets me the documents within 10 days, which was last night, I think the threat assessments are going to be really important and instructive, and it's another one of these things where FOIA they play tricks with you. So it's a different threat assessments are covered by 23.1805. And when the Virginia Tech shooting happened, they went and they changed language to so threat assessments were not to be released; they were exempt. Then they wrote in an exception where unless there's a crime charged. So clearly, what happened there with Christopher Jones was discoverable. But UVA contended that it was a scholastic record because it was about a student. And so, and they do the reports that they released finally when he pled guilty. Every single one of those redactions is wrong. All it is, it's student name. Under UVA, you couldn't write about the football team or the basketball team. Well, it's a student name, and it's not so. It's taken years to finally get to the point where I can get it, and it's so arcane the interaction that normal people. I mean, the judges bought the argument, so it took a while for the judges to get. But I think that's going to be really. But we still don't know. Did they make Robin Hadley fall on her sword for this? Why didn't Tim Longo, who I understand is a fine man, why didn't he go in and get the gun? Why didn't they call in the state police? There's whole laws about they're not there. Anybody that has a gun has to have the approval of Tim Longo. It's so outrageous, and so why did they go quiet on this? Why did they go easy on Christopher Jones? So I think that's going to be a big one, but.
That's the last and final highlight clip we'll play on the show. Thank you to Judah Wickower for editing and producing those 3 clips, including the clips from yesterday as well. I'm going to offer you an opportunity to finish your thoughts and commentary on the Smith interview and anything that was discussed in the Smith interview. I'll offer this. The man that was talking there, the trailblazer for the Jefferson Council when it comes to FOIA, is a triple wahoo. His extended family, also University of Virginia graduates, as are his children.
Mm-hmm. He has some interesting things to say about his children going there as well.
In the interview, he talks in totality the difference in education for his children that were separated by, I think, if memory serves correctly, 5, 6, 7 years, his children in age. So they attended the University of Virginia in a decent age gap. But still relatively close. So he was able to compare apples to apples, and what he found was the education was far from an apples to apples comparison. It's in totality. You can find it anywhere you get your podcasting or social media content. The interview aired, was it Wednesday, Judah?
Yeah.
On our network. And the conversation we had with the man is a man that FOIA'd thousands of pages and has literally spent the time to read it because he's retired. Okay? Few people have the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness to do what he did.
Yeah.
Your thoughts before we go to the next subject?
Again, I appreciated his insight. I thought it was interesting that he thought that the RICO case doesn't have much chance of going forward, but he thought that the malpractice case is definitely going to gain some traction in the court, and I appreciate him giving us his time. He's obviously put a lot of time into trying to get information from UVA, who claims to be, a transparent organization, and then by their actions we see that they're really not.
And then we'll dot the I's and cross the T's with this. Still, the story is unreported in the Daily Progress. Still, the story is unreported in the Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Yeah.
Still, the story is unreported by CVille Right Now, the CVille Weekly, CVille Tomorrow, CBS 19. The story is unreported. Still, the story is unreported by the Washington Post. Next topic, lower third on screen. Judah Wickower, what do we got?
Next up, we've got City Hall considering some redesigns to one of our major intersections.
Gateway to downtown.
Yeah.
Gateway to downtown, gateway to the rest of Charlottesville. The intersection, put it in perspective, the roads, the cross streets.
We've got, let's see, we've got Ridge, we've got McIntyre, we've got West Main, and Water Street. And that big intersection where we used to have the Sacagawea statue has been flagged for redesign. And there's going to be a meeting discussion, I believe, at the Carver Recreation Center, where people will be able to give their thoughts and ideas for how to change that intersection.
Here's what's wild about the intersection and how it's flagged, and the fact that now taxpayer dollars are going to go to this. This was the intersection prior to the Burley Middle School remodeling, where former councilors Kathy Galvin, former Vice Mayor Heather Hill, they were champions of the West Main Streetscape project, and the West Main Streetscape project had a fantastic strategy and plan for this specific corridor and its revitalization. Most importantly, money was contributed by VDOT and the University of Virginia to this West Main Streetscape project. Free money from the University of Virginia and free money from VDOT. The activists in our community at the time, Nakia Walker was the mayor. Michael Payne was part of this as well. Livable CVille, the Stephen Johnson, Matthew Gillikin-led organization, was a part of this. They crushed the West Main Streetscape project and kept it from happening. And they tried to do this zero-sum game of middle school remodeling and reconfiguration, or the West Main Streetscape project. And that zero-sum game literally kept the money from going to the West Main Streetscape project and the free contributions from VDOT and the University of Virginia. And here we are, 6, 7, 8 years later, and this streetscape project is now on the front burner. And I'm curious if the VDOT and the University of Virginia financial contributions are there. And it would be a crazy story, an infuriating story, if they are not there, and then more of the burden and onus has fallen on taxpayers, homeowners, tenants, business owners. One thing we can say, in that period of time when the Nakia Walker-led Charlottesville crushed the West Main Streetscape project, is the cost to do this project has escalated dramatically. So it's going to be way more expensive. So we may be in a climate, then I'll pass it to you, we may be in a climate where the project in totality is more expensive, and we may not have the same overall contribution from the University of Virginia or the Virginia Department of Transportation toward this project.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we've already given the money back to VDOT. I don't know about the UVA money, and if they would extend it to us again if they have recouped it. But I'm fairly certain we're forced to give.
We passed on it.
Yeah,
we passed on the money. The money was earmarked specifically for this project. And when the Nakia Walker-led Charlottesville said no to the project, because as William McChesney is saying in the comment section, that was they used Buford Middle School's remodeling against the West Main Streetscape, now Charlottesville Middle School. Then we turned our back on that free money, literally turning our back on free money. And now Sam Sanders and Charlottesville City Hall are having a listening session about this red flag intersection. And if anyone has been on Water Street, Ridge, McIntyre, and West Main Street, that area that all flows into the intersection where the Sacagawea statue used to be, if anyone's seen that intersection between like 4 and 6:30 p.m. or 4 and 7 p.m. on a workday, it is as snarled an intersection as you will find in Charlottesville. And it's damning because that's the entree or the gateway to downtown Charlottesville.
Yeah.
That's the entree and gateway to Midtown and the UVA corner.
Right.
So to have that intersection be such a beaver dam is it's frankly it's infuriating.
Yeah. And isn't this kind of a redux of knowing that we'll need a new school, but instead pushing for the centers, and then a decade later saying, you know what, the centers aren't working fast enough or well enough. And
He's talking Albemarle County here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Albemarle County, the center model for the high schools, and then a decade later saying the center model for the high schools, the smaller high schools, or the bigger high schools is not working, and now we need neighborhood high schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that's, what do you call that? A lack of vision or foresight?
Yeah.
Falling to political pressure?
Potentially, depending on what the pressure is. Yeah.
Certainly with the West Main Streetscape project.
Yeah.
Next headline, Judah Wickhauer, you're doing a good job. What do you got?
Next up, we've got the pros and cons of multifamily construction around CVille.
We posted on I Love CVille the snapshot of what the apartment towers that are being built. I think the headline, if you Google, if you want to know what's going on in our community, I think you do. Google, did you know there are 4 significant build-to-rent development projects being constructed right now in Charlottesville, Albemarle County? Better yet, here's the URL in very succinct fashion. ilovecville.com/new construction. I'll give it to you again. ilovecville.com/new construction. I published this snapshot some time ago. I reposted it late last week on the I Love CVille network. It went viral again. It's every time we produce content on the show. For example, we posted again the update on Coco's Adventure Park, the indoor entertainment venue in Seminole Square, and that went absolutely viral on the I Love CVille network, to the tune of Daniel Halpert, the founder's inbox being just absolutely peppered with people that had questions for him, were giving him props or showing interest. Daniel Halpert, the founder of Coco's, who's building this project now, a $3 million type of project, said it's the hardest thing he's ever done professionally, and he's a doctor, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to join us on the I Love CVille show sometime this month to update us on what's going on with Coco's at Seminole Square. But this is what I've gathered from this. As I repurposed or republished the Coco's news, or as I repurposed or republished the multifamily apartment news, the 4 significant build-to-rent projects, I found that the everyday Jennifer and the everyday Joe, the average Jennifer, they do not absorb content or news like we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the projects are the Old Ivy residences on the 250 bypass and Old Ivy Road. These are 525 units. Another project is the Verve, which is next to Scott Stadium. This is 463 units. Another one is Bloom. Bloom is the project next to Moe's Original Barbecue. This is 231 units. And then finally, there's the one for the Darden students, 218 units next to the Darden School. In total, 1,437 luxury units are being built around Charlottesville right now at the very given time. When we published this news, a lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people, choose my words carefully, a lot of people went on the I Love CVille network and published, this is good for housing, this is good for Charlottesville, this is good for price point moderation or stabilization. This is good because these are student-focused houses. And houses for students is good because that takes the pressure away from locals and allows the locals to get maybe the current stock of housing for rent. Mm-hmm. First, I want to highlight the biggest project of the 4, the Old Ivy residences on the bypass across from St. Anne's Belfield. That's the biggest one, 525 units. That is not geared for students. That is geared for locals. The other 3 are geared for students. But the biggest one, which is roughly a third of the units that are coming to market, more than a third, frankly, of the units coming to market are the Old Ivy residences. That's geared for locals, not students. They're all branded luxury. They all have price tag and price points that are going to be considerably more expensive than current existing rental stock.
Yeah.
Considerably more expensive. And this myth or this mindset that this additional supply is going to stabilize rents is a misnomer, because you can't stabilize rents if the population is increasing. It's one thing stabilizing rents. If the population is flat or decreasing, additional supply or stock will help stabilize rents. In that scenario, will actually diminish or decrease rental prices. But if population is increasing at a clip greater than units are coming on market, the rental prices will not stabilize.
Especially if the new rental prices are higher.
Considerably higher. If anything, these will drive prices up.
Yeah.
Okay, important to emphasize. I heard Ann Malik on the morning talk show, I think it was yesterday. I was driving our oldest son to school, and Ann Malik, the 5-term Albemarle County Board of Supervisor in the Whitehall District, she straight up offered scathing commentary on on residential units that are coming to market, new ones, and how they are, without question, creating a service strain on infrastructure locally. And because of that service strain, there may be consideration out of necessity, not because of want to, of another tax increase tied to real estate this year in Albemarle. She straight up mentioned to Jay James on the morning show, Ann Malik did, that I have heard from Albemarle Countyans this 4-cent tax rate increase that went into in play last year, how much of how difficult it was for Albemarle Countyans to manage budget-wise.
Yeah.
And then she said, if the population continues increasing and we continue prioritizing development, we're going to have to do this again, because the additional incremental rooftops never cover the infrastructure strain that is associated with it: schools, fire and rescue, police, etc.
Yeah.
Her words. Listen to the interview. It was a great interview. I thought she was very candid, Ann Malik. I love seeing the frankness from the supervisor. Anything you want to cover on the multifamily, the 4 build to rent? These are all build to rent. None of these are for sale, these multifamily units.
Yeah.
None of these units, the 1,437 that are going to be that are coming on market this year and early next year, are for sale. They're only luxury rentals.
I don't know if it directly ties to this, but I know that there's been some talk about the the American Dream Act that John McGuire is pushing. I don't know if you have any details on that for our viewers. I know I've seen a couple different takes on it, and I'd be interested in hearing yours.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I saw a comment today, and he listens to the show from time to time, from Jeff Leonard, who I have a lot of respect for. And he offers this comment: isn't there already a one-time allowable deduction of up to $500,000 for a couple selling a home? There is. My wife and I take advantage of this, and have recently, and may do again with our current house that we have in Ivy, because we think we've hit that kind of level of appreciation in 24 months. And the Glenmore neighborhood, where we sold in in June of 2024, because we're coming up on 2 years, we hit that $500,000 appreciation level. And because we were a married couple and we were in there 3 of 5 years or 2 consecutive years, we didn't have to pay capital gains on the $500,000 that we saw from a profit standpoint. Purchased for $700,000, sold for a 1.2. June of 2024, we bought a home in Ivy. We have a remodeling crew that we work with that is helping us manage the 24 doors that we have in our portfolio. We did some work to it. We're able to get a price point for that work that's below market because we keep them busy. It's a hot pocket of Albemarle County. The appreciation, I think, is going to be right there at $500 again. May consider another move, because why not? It's an opportunity. We look at real estate a little bit differently than others. My wife finally getting on board with this, not finally, but she sees it how we do now, okay, as an asset, not necessarily as a measuring tape in a pantry for youngsters growing 3 to 4 inches every year, or a place to take the prom picture 3 times over a high school career. So to answer Jeff's question about the $500,000 for a couple selling a home, yes, that's in play. But what John McGuire is doing is different. Philip Reese, who watches and listens to this show, a very smart business person, the owner of the History Escape Rooms.
Yep.
In McIntyre Plaza, he offered some commentary in the I Love CVille show, I Love CVille Network, about this. And I'll relay his commentary to the viewers and listeners. He says, yes, that exclusion is only if the owner lived in the home for 3 of the past 5 years. This legislation would not require that stipulation. In order to increase the volume of supply in the housing market, the more houses available in the market, the cheaper the house becomes, and the more likely first-time home buyers would be able to find something. The owner of the property would also have to sell it to a first-time home buyer in order to receive the 0% capital gain, meaning the seller may have to sell it at a lower than market price. That would be a win for the first-time home buyer. So that's the caveat.
Yeah, it's anyone over 65.
That's the second caveat.
Any house.
That's the third caveat. Not just primary residence.
Any house that's being sold for less than $500,000 to a brand new, a new home buyer.
So, price point caveat, less than $500K. Age caveat of the seller, 65 and older.
Yeah.
Another caveat is you have to sell to a first-time home buyer. And not just and cannot just sell on the open market and get whatever the market dictates.
Right.
Okay, so I thought Philip Reese did a really good job. I hope he's watching this, listening and watching to this show, and he's an intelligent guy. He suggests this is a clever way to create housing stock specifically for first-time home buyers. So this is very different than my wife and I living in a home for 24 straight months, doing some improvements with a remodeling crew that we utilize for our other units, and then bringing it to market in 24 months and allowing the free market to do what it does, the open market to do what it does.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a very different scenario there.
Right.
I think this idea is a pretty good idea by McGuire. McGuire, for a lot of reasons, should get a lot of flack locally. Yeah. Most concerning with McGuire, 5th District Representative, is his lack of communication and connectivity with his constituents in the 5th.
Yeah.
Clandestine in his communication and his, the office hours a professor may have. This guy really doesn't do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have questioned why he hasn't done any town halls, where he is for questions that people might have. So yeah.
But this one right here is pretty solid. This one right here is pretty solid here. Anything you want to add to that, Judah Wickower?
No. I wanted to hear your take because I didn't really like I said, I've heard varying thoughts on the viability of the act, and so thank you.
Viewers and listeners, put your thoughts in the feed. We'll relay them live on air on the Water Cooler Content and Conversation. We'll give some love to Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Conan Owen and Sir Speedy of Central Virginia are who you contact for anything logo-related and visibility. Logo-related and visibility, signage, direct mail, the banner behind me, lanyards, stickers. Conan Owen, Sir Speedy, Darden graduate, locally owned and operated. Judah Wickower, next headline.
Next up is the sports headline, UVA.
Saturday, 12 o'clock, Saturday at 12 p.m. tomorrow, UVA SMU. Virginia is a 1.5 point favorite. 1.5 point favorite. Saturday in Dallas against a very good SMU team. You win this contest, Virginia will, without question, and they already are, be on the national radar. They're 16 in both polls, the University of Virginia men's basketball team. This team is deep, it's talented, it's hungry, it's well coached, it's multifaceted, it's got star power, it's got professional basketball players on it. This team right here looks like a deep NCAA tournament running team. Their next contest is tomorrow at 12 o'clock against the Ponies. 1.5 point favorite, Virginia. Watch that, ESPN2. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply gets attention from us. nearly 62 years in business. John and Andrew Vermillion at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply are who you contact for anything sanitary related, swimming pool related, vacuum related, vacuum repair related, water testing or water quality related. Online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com, where they offer free in-market delivery and will often have what you purchase on their website on your doorstep faster than the big box brands. And their sister company, Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company, online at charlottesvilleswimmingpoolcompany.com, is who you contact if you need a concierge or consultant for anything swimming pool related.
Yeah.
Pros. The source of the source, the Vermillions. Judah Woodcower has done a hell of a job this week. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you very much for your support of our flagship show.